Hello, it's been a while since I've posted one of these videos, and I wanted to share some things with you that are coming from activity I did not anticipate doing a year ago. Somewhere along the way, I ran into a class on animal communication, and I thought that sounds like it might be an interesting process to explore and see what's going on with that. So I took the class and I have now been working with an animal communication mentor for about a year. It's been a while. So I've had some experiences in this activity, and I'm not planning on becoming an animal communicator in any professional kind of way, but I have done many practice readings over the last year. Usually, my mentor sends me a photograph of an animal that is no longer alive. So, for someone such as I, who was raised in a family that taught reincarnation and all of that, it wasn't unusual for me to be open to tuning in on animals that are no longer in their physical bodies, as weird as this may sound to you. So, a couple of things have come to mind in this particular kind of multidimensional activity. I have to say, my ideas about oneness, and I have always believed in oneness, but I'm having a different experience as a result of all these conversations I've had over the last year. I've really arrived at this sense. Now, do I know if this is actual? No, I'm not sure any of us can, but here's where I've landed. It seems to me that there is one intelligence, maybe we could call it one consciousness, that dresses up as all the various shapes and forms of life on this planet, exploring or experiencing, who knows why all this is happening, but the exploration of consciousness or intelligence seems to be the same intelligence trying out all different kinds of qualities of being. So for me, when I'm talking to a cat or a dog or a horse, whether they're dead or alive, I find myself encountering the same breadth of intelligence, depth of intelligence, not the same style, and certainly not the same, maybe, tone. But the longer I've done this, the more I have arrived at an experience of oneness, excuse me, oneness that is deeper than I've had before. So I know I'm stretching things a little here, but I'd like to share with you some thoughts that I received from a cat named Merlin. It was an appropriate name for him because when I first tuned in on Merlin, I had the feeling I was talking to someone who teaches. And so here are the things that Merlin said to me. I'm going to read them to you. So let me get my reading here. Merlin said, "There is more magic in this world than you can imagine. We could all work together to create such a beautiful world if you were able to perceive and understand how much is available to you and to all of us." He said at the end of our conversation, because we talked a lot about other things, he said, again, there is so much more than you imagine. And he invited me and all of us to continue stretching, expanding, and letting in more awareness, excuse me, and dimensions of reality. He said, keep expanding, always keep expanding. So after that conversation, I thought, okay, that's what a lot of us seem to be doing in our multidimensional explorations. And I would add to it to keep allowing ourselves to be surprised because you never know what will come your way synchronistically. And so I do want to say that I was listening to the telepathy tapes season two. And if you haven't already started listening, I really recommend the telepathy tapes. They are very, very interesting. They're being done by a documentarian, and with Telepathy Tapes Series 1, she did it in, she had a colleague who was a psychologist doing research on non-speaking autistic people who are profoundly telepathic. And the research was very interesting. It is really quite illuminating. And then series two goes on to other kinds of telepathy and multidimensional awareness. And there's one man they interviewed who had a severe brain injury. And when he came out of that brain injury, he had something, I think, I can't remember the name of it, but he can see larger fields of awareness now or being. And he talked about something called holographic, the holographic information field, where everything is that ever was. And that reminded me of the spiritual idea of the Akashic records. And he also talked about something that made so much sense to me in this animal communication experience I've been having. He said it's the meaning of something that translates into the language of the recipient. And I realized when I'm talking with these animals, they're not speaking English, obviously. And yet we're exchanging in a language I can understand and in a language they can understand. And I thought, oh, this idea of the holographic information field was really interesting. So I just wanted to pass that along as it offers at least an explanation for some of the multidimensional and telepathic activities that people engage. In the telepathy tapes, the participants from no matter where they are in the world talk about a place called the Hill, which is not a physical place, but it's where they all meet and make friendships. And they all, obviously, out here would understand different languages. And yet on the Hill, they're able to communicate quite easily. And that reminded me of this man's talk about meaning, that the meaning gets conveyed to whatever language the recipient speaks. So I wanted to make this video just to tweak the idea that in multidimensional living, we have an opportunity to keep, excuse me, expanding our awareness, our ability to perceive, and forgive my cough. It's winter where I am, so I'm tucked indoors with three cats and the windows not open, and my cat allergy, such as it is, acts up a bit when I'm in the apartment with them all the time, and it's showing up in my voice these days. So please forgive me for all the that's going on. So I wanted to share this just to say maybe we can expand our awareness of what is possible, what's available communication-wise, if we expand beyond the physical realm talking to the other dimensions of awareness where our thoughts, our images convey meaning that can translate and commune with other people, other life forms. I very much look forward to expanding my interspecies communication experience to start to include trees and other life forms. Because what is does seem to be happening is the idea of animal communication is expanding now to be thought of as interspecies communication, which I like a lot better because it leaves it more open to what the possibilities actually are. And I think there are many experienced animal communicators who are now truly interspecies communicators. So I don't know how this will land with you, but I hope that you'll allow yourself to start playing with attuning to the life around you and seeing what happens if you offer hello or offer some other communication and see what happens. I have found with one of my cats here, the older cat, if I see her doing what I'd like her to be doing and I just wait, she'll eventually respond. So the imagery speaks to her. And I think a lot of people say that they find that imagery works when they're wanting to convey something to the animal companions they live with. And so for now, this is the end of this video, but I do hope you will enjoy playing with multidimensional ideas. Quantum physics continues to demonstrate what many spiritual approaches have talked about for years. And I have a feeling that the day will come when quantum physics becomes the dominant science, that we will find our multidimensionality much more accessible, much easier to move toward because we will have been conditioned into thinking about reality in a much more expansive way than our linear, strictly three-dimensional science has said is possible. So take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.